Microsoft Windows. Microsoft Windows is a series of software operating systems and graphical user interfaces produced by Microsoft. Microsoft first introduced an operating environment named Windows in November 1985 as an add-on to MS-DOS in response to the growing interest in graphical user interfaces. Microsoft Windows came to dominate the world's personal computer market, overtaking Mac OS, which had been introduced previously. Microsoft Windows is the most widely used operating system. It provides geographical user interface and desktop environment in which applications are displayed in resizable, movable windows on screen. It contains built-in networking which allows users to share files and applications with each other if their PCs are connected to a network. The advantages are huge wealth of application programs that have been written for it. It is a standard for desktop and laptop computers worldwide with hundreds of millions of users. It is supported by Microsoft, the largest software company in the world. The versions of Microsoft Windows. The history of Windows dates back to September 1981 when the project named Interface Manager was started. It was announced in November 1983 under the name Windows, but Windows 1.0 was not released until November 1985. The shell of Windows 1.0 was a program known as the MS-DOS Executive. Other supplied programs were Calculator, Calendar, Card File, Clipboard Viewer, Clock, Control Panel, Notepad, Paint, Terminal, and Write. Windows 1.0 did not allow overlapping windows due to Apple Computer owning this feature. Instead, all windows were tiled. Only dialog boxes could appear over other windows. It was never popular. Windows 2.0 was released in October 1987 and featured several improvements to the user interface and memory management. Windows 2.0 allowed application windows to overlap each other and also introduced more sophisticated keyboard shortcuts. It could also make use of expanded memory. The early versions of Windows were often thought of as simply graphical user interfaces, mostly because they ran on top of MS-DOS and used it for file system services. However, even the earliest 16-bit Windows versions already assumed many typical operating system functions, notably having their own executable file format and providing their own device drivers for applications. Unlike MS-DOS, Windows allowed users to execute multiple graphical applications at the same time through cooperative multitasking. Windows implemented an elaborate segment-based software virtual memory scheme which allowed it to run applications larger than available memory. Windows 3.0 and Windows 3.1 improved the design mostly because of virtual memory and loadable virtual device drivers, which allowed them to share arbitrary devices between multitask DOS windows. Also, Windows applications could now run in protected mode, which gave them access to several megabytes of memory and removed the obligation to participate in the software virtual memory scheme. They still ran inside the same address space where the segmented memory provided a degree of protection and multitasked cooperatively. For Windows 3.0, Microsoft also rewrote critical operations from C into assembly, making this release faster and less memory hungry than its predecessors. With the introduction of the Windows for Workgroups 3.11, Windows was able to bypass DOS for file management operations using 32-bit file access. Windows 95 was released in 1995, featuring a new user interface, support for long file names of up to 255 characters, and the ability to automatically detect and configure install hardware, plug and play. It could natively run 32-bit applications and featured several technological improvements that increased its ability over Windows 3.1. Microsoft's next release was Windows 98 in 1998. Microsoft released a second version of Windows 98 in 1999 named Windows 98 Second Edition, often shortened to Windows 98 SE. Windows 98 SE incorporated Windows 98 Service Pack 1 with Internet Explorer, Outlook Express, NetMeeting and Media Player. In 2000, Microsoft released Windows ME. ME stands for Millennium Edition, which updated the core from Windows 98 but adopted some aspects of Windows 2000 and removed the boot in DOS mode option. It also added a new feature called System Restore, allowing the user to set the computer's setting back to an earlier date. The NT family of Windows systems was fashioned and marketed for higher reliability business use. The first release was MS Windows NT 3.1 in 1993, numbered 3.1 to match the consumer Windows version, which was followed by NT 3.5 in 1994. 2000 is the last NT-based Windows release which does not include Microsoft product activation. 11th version is Windows 2000, which was released in February 2000, also known as Win2K and W2K. Microsoft moved to combine their consumer and business operating systems with Microsoft XP, coming in both home and professional versions. It was an upgrade client version of Windows 2000. Windows 2003, a reversed version of Windows 2000, was released in the year 2003. Windows Vista, released in 2007, is the first end-user version of Windows that Microsoft has released simultaneously in x86 and x64 editions. Windows Vista does not support the Titanium architecture. Windows 2008, an improved version of 2003, facilitated the users to select the functions from the menu. Windows 2010 to 2015, the Start button returns along with the addition of a number of other features including multiple custom desktops, a revamped task view and floating desktop apps feature called Continuum, which is designed to make it easy for users to switch between touch interfaces and non-touch environments. And finally, a window is a rectangular area on screen surrounded by a window frame with a title bar and a title at the top.